What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Sidelined NFL Week 9. Before we get into it, remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment to Wilco Media on YouTube. Let's get into it. My number one takeaway from this week of NFL games is most teams suck this season. The league is down this year in terms of quality teams. I'd say there are about 3 elite teams: the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Bills, and I'd say the Cowboys are teetering right there. They could maybe get into that upper tier. But I'd say other than those 4 teams, I don't think anyone else has a legit shot to win the Super Bowl. As of today, I just think the league is down right there. It's a lot of below average, sucky, kind of meh teams. Just not great. Most teams suck this year, and I think it was very apparent this week from the quality of games. My number 2 takeaway, the QB class of 2021, I think it also kind of sucks. Zach Wilson is god-awful. He is not good. I think it was very apparent this season. They need to move on from him. Justin Fields is getting a little better, but he is still struggling as a passer. Trey Lance has been in the league 2 years, and he's played 1 game. We have no idea what he is. I mean, Mac Jones is fine. You know, like, he's okay. He's like a 5, you know, like, whatever. And Trevor Lawrence, I mean, he, you know, looks good, looks the part, has the arm, has the tools, but we really haven't seen him unleashed too. It's looking like a very mid QB class of 2021, and I just think it's interesting because that class was hyped up so much. My third takeaway, analytics are ruining sports. The nerds are ruining sports. The fucking nerds. They ruined baseball with the analytics, the WAR stat. I hate it. They've ruined the shift. I can't. Frankly, baseball is hard to watch now because of how nerds have ruined it with the relief pitching and using pitchers only how many times through the lineup. And it's starting to creep into football. You see teams going for it for 2-point conversions all the time now. You see teams going for it on 4th down all the time. Miami was very apparent this past Sunday. They went 0 for 3 on 4th down when they should have just kicked it, took the points. I think it's stupid. I think teams need to just play the game, take the points. Don't get too cute. Don't get too smart. Fuck the analytics. Play the game. Play the game. Play the game. All right. Let's get into the top 5 games of NFL Week 9. Game number 1, you had the Pats versus the Colts. The Colts are dreadful. They are just not a good team. They're not a good franchise. It's just turmoil. Their owner, I'm pretty sure, Jim Irsay, he's a pill addiction. This guy's this guy's a wacko. I'm pretty sure he just got busted for cocaine again. This guy's a druggie. And he's the top of the organization, so that bodes well for them. They just fired their coach. They got rid of their quarterback, Matt Ryan. They benched him for the season. Their best player, Jonathan Taylor, has been hurt. I mean, it's just a dumpster fire. They are trending down. They're fucking awful. Sam Ellinger doesn't look like he has a spot in the league. It was really bad watching him. And the Patriots took advantage. They beat another bad team. I'll give them some credit, but I'm not going to give the Patriots too much credit. I keep just beating up on bad teams. You know what I mean? It's like beating a special needs kid in basketball. It's like, all right, it's like you won, but you know what I mean? Like, you're supposed to win. It would have been more alarming if you lost. So I'll give them that. I will say the defense looks really good. Matthew Judon leads the league in sacks, 11.5 sacks. He is unbelievable. He's worth every penny. But I'm not taking away too much from this game just because the Colts are so bad. They're an inept on offense. I'd like to see the Patriots when they play. They're playing good teams coming up. They have another one versus the Jets, Bengals, Vikings, Bills, Miami. I think those will be better indicators of where the Patriots stand. But, you got to beat up on the bad teams. So, good job, I guess. Buffalo versus the Jets. This was probably the biggest upset of the weekend. Everyone had the Bills as the best team in the league along with the Eagles. The New York Football Jets, they upset them in spite of Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is not good. I don't like how he looks. I don't like how he plays. I don't like his attitude. Frankly, I just don't like him. And I think the Jets need to move on from him. They won in spite of him. Their defense played very good. They had timely turnovers. The running game was good with Michael Carter and James Robinson. Garrett Wilson looked really good. I think he's going to be a good player in this league for a long time from Ohio State. And Josh Allen just made too many mistakes. He threw 2 bad interceptions. one in the red zone, one that gave the Jets really good field possession. And you make too many mistakes, you lose. It's like, with a girlfriend, you fuck up too many times, she's going to leave your ass, And the Bills did that. I'm not too alarmed, though. I mean, you're going to drop one here and there. Division games are sometimes weird. Those are tough games. The Bills are still, I think, Super Bowl favorites. And it's weird because the Jets looked like a minor league team versus the Patriots. But here they played the Bills tough. I just don't think they can go anywhere with Zach Wilson because eventually he's going to have to win them games. I don't think he can do it. Jets upset the Bills. Biggest surprise from this week. Next game, Bucs, Rams. Oh, it was so good to see Tom Brady back at it, doing what Tom Brady does. The Rams made a big mistake. They gave Tom Brady the ball with a minute left and a chance to win. It's kind of like, having sex with your best friend's mom. You just don't do it. You just don't give the ball with Tom Brady with a minute left, chance to win the game. You just don't do it. As much as you want to, you just don't. And the Rams did it. Brady took advantage. It was vintage Brady. It's funny because the Bucs looked awful the whole game, couldn't get anything going on offense. And then the last drive, they fucking went 60 yards in under a minute. It was awesome. Brady was pumped after the game. He was hugging everyone, left switch on the sideline. At the press conference after the game, he said, that was fucking awesome. It made me happy. The little kid in me, because, not going to lie, not a lot of things get me happy nowadays. I'm pretty numb. It's just, the monotony of life. I'm 23. I don't have a girlfriend. I go to work. I come home. I don't do much. But this made me happy to see Tom happy. I lived through other people, so that was nice. And I think this could be the spark that the Bucs need to kind of get rolling, even though it was an ugly win. Wins like this, things that can, start momentum, start winning streaks. So I think this is huge for the Bucs. This could turn around their season. As for the Rams, they suck. They blow. They sold their soul last year, and they're not going anywhere this year. They're a mirage. Fuck the Rams. Fuck Matt Stafford. Fuck them all. Next game. Bears, Dolphins. The Bears have been surprising the past couple of weeks because I think, everyone coming into the season thought the Bears were one of the worst teams in the league. Granted, they're still pretty bad, but they've been playing teams tough the past couple of weeks, and Justin Fields has balls. Say what you want about him. I like his attitude. He plays tough. He plays hard. You can tell he cares. He really wants to win. And he's putting it together. You can tell he's gaining confidence. The way he's playing, he's more sure of himself. You can just tell he's making better throws. He's making a lot of plays with his legs. And I like the way he has this Bears offense rolling. They run the ball really well. They're getting Mooney more involved. And they played Miami tough. In Miami, they're fucking idiots. They almost blew it. This fucking hot rod coach, he thinks he's the shit, this young guy, McDaniel. And they almost blew it. They went 0 for 3 on fourth down. But they just have so much talent on offense. Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Tua's playing well. Jeff Wilson had a good game last game. And the Dolphins were just too much. They're stupid, though. And I think that's going to get them in trouble down the line. Against the Bears, it didn't matter. You play a team like Kansas City or Buffalo, you pull that shit, you're not going to win that game. But it was a very entertaining game. Cool to see those quarterbacks go back and forth. I'm actually very excited to watch Justin Fields the rest of the season because I'm a fan of his. And I kind of hope he puts it together and proves everyone wrong. But it was a good game, but Dolphins need to sharpen that up. Packers, Lions. Aaron Rodgers looks awful. You talk about a man that is checked out. I mean, this guy looks like he was going to cry after the game. After every mistake he made, he was yelling. He just looks frustrated. He looks like he's done, kaput. See you later. The opposite of Brady. Brady, things are going bad. He leaves a last-second drive. You can tell he's amped. Let's go, not giving up. Rodgers is the opposite. After the game, he goes, I didn't give up. He always says I. It's like LeBron. He's just a selfish asshole. No, it's we. It's the team. You're a quarterback. You should know that. You're a leader of men. It's not about you. And Rodgers, say what you want about Green Bay because he has no weapons, but Rodgers played bad. He threw 3 bad interceptions. They should have easily beat this team. Detroit has been a historically bad defense. Every team that Detroit has played, they've been rammed up the ass by that team. Rammed up the ass with no regard. And the Packers, they couldn't do it. The Lions turned it around on them, and they rammed the Packers. This is a very bad Detroit team, and Green Bay lost to them. This is an all-time low for the Packers. I mean, this offseason, they have to make some major moves. They have to get some weapons. They have to reconstruct the roster. It's a lost season for them officially. I doubt Rodgers will ever get back to another Super Bowl. It looks like he's kind of on the downturn, and the Lions blow. They've always blown. They'll always blow in my rest of my life. Yep. Sweet and sour. My number 3 sweet for this week, fantasy football, is Dameon Pierce of the Houston Texans. Now, it's interesting because the Houston Texans, along with Carolina, are probably the worst team in the league, definitely the worst team in the AFC. And usually fantasy players for those teams don't do very well. But Dameon Pierce is clearly the workhorse for that team. He gets all the touches. He's a rookie. And this man runs hard. He's like a fat kid going for free donuts at the donut line. He just goes right in there. No regard for human life. Dameon Pierce, he didn't even score a touchdown last week. He had a solid game. Dameon Pierce, you got to play him every week. If he gets a touchdown, it's a bonus. But going forward, Dameon Pierce must start. My number 3 sour is Aaron Rodgers. I think he won MVP last season, so a lot of people were drafting him thinking, all right, he lost Adams, so he's not going to be MVP level, but he'll still be a solid starter you can play every week. He hasn't eclipsed 20 fantasy points in a game yet. He's been bad. I mean, unless you have no options, you can safely release him because a lot of people thought this was going to be his breaking out party against Detroit in that dome. Historically bad defense, and he had his worst game this season. Rodgers has been a disaster this season. If you have anyone else, drop him, move on. Rodgers, sour. Number 2 sweet this week will be Jalen Waddle. I really like Jalen Waddle. He's an excellent player, and a lot of people were a little wary because they had Tyreek Hill, too many mouths to feed in Miami. No, Waddle's been eating. He gets a lot of touchdowns. He gets a ton of touches. It's all Hill and Waddle. You got to play. If you have Waddle, you got to play him every week. Tua's having a really good season. If Tua is healthy, you got to play Waddle. Even if it's Bridgewater, I'm still playing Waddle. The Miami offense is as dynamic as any in the league, right there with Buffalo and Kansas City. Waddle's been great all year. You got to play him. Waddle, sweet. Number 2 sour is Drake London. I like Drake London. I drafted him late in a lot of leagues because he's so talented. I thought Atlanta, it's just him and Pitts. He's going to get a lot of touches. Hasn't turned out that way. All they do is run the ball down there, and Mariota throws maybe 15, 18 passes a game. Drake London had a good start. First 3 or 4 games, he had some touchdowns, some double-digit fantasy weeks. I mean, the last 5 or 6 weeks, he's done nothing. I think he had 3 catches for 23 yards last week. You can't play Drake London or Kyle Pitts. The Atlanta receivers just don't get enough touches. Both very talented, but with Mariota in there, they just don't get enough work, don't get enough targets. You can drop him. Honestly, I think you can drop him. Unless you get no one else, maybe keep him on the bench. Maybe they turn to the backup. But Drake London definitely can't start. You can probably safely drop Drake London sour. My number 1 sweet, the sweetest of them all, Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon was cooking this week. He had 5 touchdowns, over 50 fantasy points, the highest scoring running back fantasy performance of the entire season. Historically good performance from Joe Mixon. And a lot of people were concerned early in the season because he was doing good. He was getting a lot of work. But when they would get in the goal line, they weren't giving it to him. Well, now that Jamar Chase is out 4 to 6 weeks, Mixon is getting a lot more red zone touches. And even if Chase was in, it was only a matter of time before Mixon got his work in the red zone. Listen, he's the guy there in Cincinnati. They're a high-flying offense. They score a lot. Last week versus Cleveland, I think that was a mirage. Joe Mixon is a must-start every week. And frankly, if he's your RB2, you're in great shape. And he's even an RB1. Joe Mixon, sweet to sweet, historic performance. Number 1 sour, the worst of them all, Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor has probably been the biggest fantasy disappointment this season just because of where he was drafted. He was the consensus number 1 pick. And every single person with the first pick this season took Jonathan Taylor, and I would have too. Everyone would have. But, it's just how the cookie crumbles. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. Even when it's all lined up, you think you got her in the bag. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. And it's because the Colts suck. Matt Ryan's out of there. Sam Ehlinger's in, and he's been banged up all season. The Colts have a bad offensive line. Just have a bad team. They don't score a lot. And he's been in and out of the lineup. Even when he's been in, he hasn't been catching passes. They haven't been scoring. You're not releasing Jonathan Taylor because it's fucking Jonathan Taylor. But, if you picked him number 1, you're fucked because there's your RB1, and he hasn't done anything this season. Maybe he can turn it around. I would definitely not bet on it. I think this is definitely a down year for Jonathan Taylor. And if you took him number 1 overall, like my cousin Alex, sucks for you. He's been sour all year, and it looks like he's going to be sour going forward unless something drastic happens. And that's it. That's all we got. NFL Week 9, in and out, quick, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Wilco Media. We got Movie Mob Friday, 6 p.m. This will be dropping today, Monday, 8 p.m. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Send a link. Sideline. That's it.